Welcome to your General Studies History Preparation session. Today, we are diving deep into the Paleolithic Age, and by the end of this lesson, you are going to walk away with complete clarity on this topic. So let's get started. When we talk about ancient history, we have to start at the very beginning. The term Paleolithic comes from two Greek words, paleo, meaning old, and lithic, meaning stone. This is why it's commonly known as the Old Stone Age. Now, think about this for a moment. How long did this period last? It is actually the longest phase of human history. It spans an incredible time frame, roughly from 2 million years ago all the way down to about 10,000 BC. During this massive stretch of time, human life was extremely basic. Our ancestors didn't have permanent homes or agriculture. Instead, they lived entirely as nomadic hunter-gatherers. They moved constantly from place to place in search of wild animals to hunt and natural vegetation to forage. You need to remember this foundational fact for your exam: there was absolutely no knowledge of agriculture or pottery during this phase. They were entirely dependent on nature for their survival. Now, let's look at where these early humans actually lived. For your competitive exams, mapping these ancient sites is absolutely crucial. Take a look at this map of the Indian subcontinent. Notice the glowing markers. These represent the most significant Paleolithic sites discovered by archaeologists. The most famous one you must remember is Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh. Why is it so important? Because it houses some of the oldest prehistoric rock paintings in the world, giving us a direct window into their daily lives and hunting practices. Then, moving down south, we have Hansagi in Karnataka, where a massive number of limestone tools were found, suggesting it was a major factory site for early humans. And let's not forget the Kurnool caves in Andhra Pradesh. This site is a goldmine for historians because ash traces were discovered here, proving that Paleolithic people in India had mastered the use of fire. Think about how revolutionary that was for their survival against predators and cold weather. Whenever you get a question about Paleolithic geography, these three anchor locations, Bhimbetka, Hansagi, and Kurnool, should immediately come to your mind. Make sure you memorize their states, as match the following questions frequently target these exact sites. Let's break down the technology of the Old Stone Age. You might be wondering, what kind of tools did they use if they didn't have metal? Well, early humans in India primarily used a very hard type of rock called quartzite. Because of this, Paleolithic men in India are sometimes referred to as quartzite men in exam literature. Keep that specific term in your notes. The tools they crafted were unpolished, rough, and highly functional. The most common implements were hand axes, cleavers, and choppers. These weren't just random rocks, they were carefully chipped away to create sharp edges. But what were they actually doing with these heavy stone tools? They were essential survival gear. They used them for hunting large animals, chopping down wood, scraping animal skins for clothing, and digging up edible roots and tubers from the ground. As time progressed, their tool-making skills slowly evolved, moving from large, bulky stones to slightly more refined flakes. Understanding this progression is key, because the type of stone tool found at an archaeological site is exactly how historians date the settlement. So, always associate quartzite and rough hand axes with this era. To wrap up our understanding, we need to divide this massive era into three distinct phases based on tool types and climate changes. First, we have the Lower Paleolithic phase. This occurred during the peak of the Ice Age, where humans relied on heavy, bulky hand axes and choppers. Next comes the Middle Paleolithic phase. Here, we see a shift in technology. People started using smaller, sharper flake tools, borers, and scrapers, making hunting slightly more efficient. Finally, we reach the Upper Paleolithic phase. This is a critical turning point for your exams. The climate started getting significantly warmer, And most importantly, this is the exact phase where modern human beings, Homo sapiens, first emerged. The tools became even sharper, including bone tools and blades. And that wraps up everything you need to know about the Paleolithic Age for your general studies exam. You now have the foundational facts locked in. In our next class, we will be moving on to the Mesolithic Age and the beginning of animal domestication, so make sure you stay tuned. And if you haven't already, download the Examiverse app. It's your complete preparation companion for cracking your exams. We'll see you in the next class.